Welcome to SEO Talk, first episode of 2026, episode 124 in total, and we are so excited to welcome you all to SEOTalk Spaces. Been doing it for more than 13 years, 14 years now, close to 14 years. We started back in 2012, and I kind of joined in 2017 as an attendee. 2016 as an attendee and 2017 as a co-host, and it's been a roller coaster ride. Uh, and we are so glad that uh, we make sure that the show must go on. Malar Bhai and me, he's the co-founder of this particular SEO Talk Spaces. We started as SEO Talk Chat, Twitter chat. Then we eventually moved to Spaces like 3-4 years ago after the Clubhouse thing. So, quick history about SEO Tech community, and here we are today with a topic around AI SEO. Obviously, the hot topic being discussed across the platforms, and yeah, over the last year, SEO has been flooded with new terms, whether you call it GEO, AEO, AI SEO, LLM optimization, and whatnot. Um, Google keeps repeating the same message. Our systems reward content which is made for humans. So we as SEOs are now stuck in the middle. On one side, we see AI answers, overviews, and continues continuously the traffic pattern has been changing in the last year, month over month, quarter over quarter. And on the other side, Google says there's nothing fundamentally new to do, just focus on helpful human first content. Now, this particular dilemma raises an uncomfortable question. Are we genuinely adapting to a new search reality? Or are we overcomplicating SEO out of fear? So let's get started with today's conversation, all about not rejecting the fact that AI is here and blindly chasing AI SEO, but it would be more around figuring out what actually matters, what's noise, and how SEOs should think the way forward in 2026. So let's break the hype. Over to you, Malar bhai.
All right, perfect. And a perfect start to the new year and episode 124 on SEO Talk. So, thank you for leading the charge and setting the context. Uh, we all know, right? We are living in the synthesized answers kind of era, right? Everything that we do, every informational search probably is kind of happening on LLMs, all the stuff. So I'll go back to the basics, right? And as we set up the context, it's like, what do we mean by AI SEO? Because, like you mentioned, there are so many terms these days, right? AEO, GEO, AI SEO, LLM SEO, and I don't, again, I keep forgetting the terms also now. So, what if we just pick up say AI SEO? What does that mean?
I would start to answer, and in the meantime, I think so. Isha can also join us in the panel. Deepak is also around, and most people use AI SEO as an umbrella term, but it usually mixes a couple of things together. A, using AI to create or assist content. B, trying to make content visible or cited in AI answers, whether we call it G or AO. Uh, and C, using AI tools to automate SEO work. So very few teams out there are actually doing all three properly. So this is the whole thing about AI SEO. Uh, But yeah, at the end of the day, it's about uh, there are a lot many terms which needs a lot of clarity. But at the end of the day, AISEO is all about like efficiency, visibility, or maybe we can call it influence.
Would you add scalability also to that list?
Oh, absolutely, for sure. I think so. Yeah, that totally makes sense. Programmatic
Okay.
SEO is easier than ever.
Exactly, because I was going back to what you mentioned and say AI used to create content. And if you look at some of the basics of programmatic SEO, probably 2 or 3 years back, it is what it was, right? You create content at a scale using different tools and just go out there and run optimization on that, right? So it used to happen, but what AI helped is probably scale it to a different level is what my submission is right now. But before we go into depth, Isha, Deepak, your thoughts. What do you think is AI SEO? If we have to just put the basics.
So, in basic sense, as Parth said, first of all, Happy New Year to all. And in basic sense, AI SEO is, I like to call it AI search optimization. Like, and whatever your user is searching using any of a AI tool like Google AI Overview, AI Mode, or ChatGPT, Gemini, whatever, we optimize our content to be cited, our products to be featured on those results that they show. So this is very basic definition, my version of definition for AI SEO.
Oh, perfect. So what you are saying is we define based on the outcomes, and the process could be, it could be manual, it could be automated, it could be a yellow. We don't care, but if the outcome is where you get discovered on an LLM and the efforts going towards it is AI SEO, right?
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you. Isha?
I agree to what Deepak said. I mean, if you're talking about AI, so the so if you're talking about AI SEO as a service, I mean, someone who's looking for AI SEO, then what Deepak said is exactly what I will also say, that okay, like the way we also talk about Amazon SEO and social media SEO. Similarly, getting your website ranked for LLMs is a simple definition of AI SEO from the service standpoint. And if we talk from operational standpoint, or rather now, then there is a very thin line between AI SEO, and people also talk about um, AI, or rather agnetic SEO. I mean, where you create SEO agents to make things and operations easy. So that's slightly complicated, but yes, if we want to talk about very simple version from the service standpoint, for any brand to get more visibility on AI engine is what ASU.
Perfect. AI agents plus AI SEO is what is probably going on right now if we just take it in a nutshell, right? Okay, let me go a little deeper and again for some of us at this point of time, are we feeling the pressure from our customers, stakeholders to optimize for AI because they see a lot of FOMO out there, people talking about getting discovered on LLMs, etc. Whereas all of us at this point of time know that the traffic that is attributable to LLMs is still in single digit percentage. So, is there a pressure to optimize for AI, or how are you managing that conversation?
I think so. That's a great question, and um, it's almost weekly dealing with our regular clients. Uh, One or the other client will have a question. I think so. Traffic patterns have been changing really fast than it were in the 2021-2022 era, where we would have core updates like in once in a 6 months, and then there would be an EEAT update or a spam update or a link abuse update. But those frequencies were very limited. A B again, it also affected only some features of SERP or somewhere around spamming of backlinks or something like that. But having said that, with the advent of like since last 2.5 years, AI overviews, chat based answers, and oral zero click searches, things are making SEO feel that SEOs as an SEO we feel that we are losing the overall control. And when control feels threatened, people look for new tactics. So I think so. That is where the pressure to optimize for AI is like there's a FOMO, there's fear, there are questions from CXOs and whatnot. Like everyone wants to crack the Reddit game and Quora and listicles and just so at the end of the day, the common trait of the SEO SEOs, I would not generalize it, but yeah, kind of spamming one or the other tactics, and that's been the trend with indie bloggers, and that's been the trend around also. But yeah, open to your thoughts from other panelists.
No, so while I agree to what you say, right, the other part that got me all thinking was also, see, even if you get listed within LLMs, right, or discovered on LLMs, right, there is still no way we can attribute any of the conversion metrics to a journey from LLM, right? So, because end of the day, today, say you probably figure out a way to get listed or get discovered on LLMs. The next question is, boss धंधा कैसे करेंगे? Or how am I going to convert, or how am I going to generate leads from all the efforts that you are putting? Or is that kind of conversation starting to happen, or are we anticipating those conversations to also come in after the discovery phase is over?
No, no. Well, I would say that when you ask this question, I would say the pressure is not about getting ourselves listed in AI. The pressure is about even if we get listed in the AI, what will we get? मतलब वही धंधा कहाँ से लाएंगे, वही वो एक बहुत बड़ा सवाल हो गया है. माय क्लाइंट्स हैव स्टार्टेड क्वेश्चनिंग कि अब हम एसईओ को मेजर कैसे करें. सो यू आर सेइंग ओके रैंकिंग एक फैक्टर हो गया, इंप्रेशंस एक फैक्टर हो गया, ट्रैफिक एक फैक्टर हो गया, और क्या. So that is becoming more challenging now to tell them कि क्या what the matrix is very challenging right now.
And that's a fantastic point, and that was exactly my thought. That was, we have been fed, or rather we have fed to our customers and stakeholders, because these are rankings, these are, say, your keyword traffic and all the stuff, right? And now suddenly you have AI SEO coming up, and then the next logical question is, chalo discover ho gaya, right? I got discovered here, what next for me, eh? So uh, again, I don't know, Parth, Deepak, or anyone else who has been a similar situation and has an answer, probably, or an early answer to it.
I would say things like very few leadership folks understand that what is the correlation of getting revenue from an organic channel like SEO, for example? Uh, Obviously, Google had the most market share. So even the most, like 80% of the leaders I have worked with, or I have known, or I have consulted, or some of my peer friends are working with, earlier they were chasing the vanity metric of traffic. Hey, last month I got 150,000 traffic. This month the traffic is reduced by 10%, blah blah blah. But there were very few who thought, what is the second order effect of like the conversions that you are getting from that traffic? How you can maximize the potential of that 150,000 traffic a month? Um, like there have been articles from like 2018-19 that you need UX, you need better UI and UX, and we saw a backlinko website back in the day in 2018. It was so picture perfect, like the chapter wise, index wise, every 100 words there's an infographic. So that content was engineered to be consumed with like best possible engagement. So people could read through it, like scroll past through it like 70-80%. The main question is, how do you engineer your content? And currently, I think so. The folks there, those are facing, like you're answering to your exact question, the discovery phase and all of that. So customers are kind of finding citations through AI answers, and then going ahead and doing Google search with respect to comparisons or uh, whatever, like decision making search, whether on chat search like AI LLMs or the search engine, and then buying. So when there is a lead, there's this question being asked that where did you find us, and what made you purchase our product? A lot of them told that we discovered your brand or your product through this thing, AI. By the end of the day, like there's no flywheel, there is no clear pattern, but there are a lot of steps involved. So again, kind of double clicking on the conversation that we had a couple of weeks back in 2025 December, that agentic SEO search, we need to think very deep. We need to think all the use cases that our target audience will go through, maybe search through Reddit, maybe search through these communities. So we have to be up and ready to do those small sprints and get the brand out there across multiple different platforms where there is all the conversations going on in multiple different phases, funnel stages of the journey. Yeah, this is my take, but yeah, uh, whatever I've seen or experienced with the clients that I'm working on. But Isha, Deepak, and other folks, I think so. Deepali has also joined. Hey, Deepali, welcome back. Ankit, Rohit, yeah, feel free to share your thoughts.
Um, so, I mean, I think what Parth said does make sense, and I'll tell you, there's another bigger challenge which is coming up now. Uh, See, we went from ranking to we basically went from ranking to impressions to clicks to users sessions and then revenue. Now what we also are seeing is that we even went to the extent that, is the users uh, is the first user click or first user session is organic or not, in terms of analyzing data. But now what is also being noticed is that it's organic traffic can also is no more just the first touch point of a consumer, because there was a time where the first touch point was organic. Now organic is no more the first touch point, at least I'm talking from the search perspective. AI also, because people are going on multiple places, constantly asking and then making the buying decision. So things are becoming more uh, more I mean, more complex or rather more depth, as Path already mentioned. It's not as simple as that. A customer came up. Now, customer journey, understanding the customer journey itself is becoming very complicated. And it's no more. So there was a time where we were only analyzing the customer journey from a customer coming to the site and what was the behavior. Now it has gone to the extent that the customer might has got a first impression of your brand, or they are interested in something similar to your brand, and what is their behavior. So things are, it's a pre and the post, a very in-depth analysis which marketers needs to do. How in SEO we are going to integrate this is becoming a very big question at this point of time.
Fantastically put. And if yeah, Parth, please.
Yeah, I just wanted to add one point. Very good point that you brought up, Isha. So earlier, Google used to send traffic. We used to have how-tos and comparison pages, everything on our website. So whether it was discovery or decision-making stage, everything, all types of content formats were on the website. Now it's not a website; it's multiple different platforms, multiple different content formats. So branding and brand recall comes into the picture, because if someone is searching on Reddit and then going on Google and then um, kind of getting an ad on Instagram or any other platforms. So it's going to be like, how consistent is your brand recall, like overall graphics, and a lot of things will matter. So branding is getting more and more importance uh, across this whole journey. Sorry, Malar, you were saying something.
Yeah, no, no. Good points. I guess yeah, Isha summed up a lot of points. What I also wanted to add is, and something that I was following today morning, uh, and it goes like, say, probably Chat GPT or OpenAI is kind of losing its war against Google, because Google, the Gemini thing, is scaling extremely fast and giving very good results. And the word on the street, or the word on in Silicon Valley, is probably ChatGPT will turn itself into more of an audio based conversation, right? So are we going to probably see another wave of uh, you can say audio SEO also coming in? And because now I have AI SEO, you have audio SEO, and still you need to do the web SEO part also. So how do you think that future of SEO professionals is going to look like? Yeah, Deepak.
So I think we already have some level of context for audio SEO. Like we are already talking about voice search optimization and all that. So I don't think it would be very different from that. Apart from enabling the LLM part of ChatGPT, that it can synthesize and recreate the answer on its own, rather than just reading a source, just like a Google voice search. So apart from that, I think things would be very similar.
Perfect. No, it's because the reason I also brought in, and you mentioned a very good thing in terms of voice SEO, because the other part of it was also, uh, see, I like this term called snackable content, right? So would we probably see tools like, say, ChatGPT preferring content which are short sentences, which is easy for them to decipher, easy for them to synthesize into an audio format, rather than long form content which is difficult for it one to also synthesize and convert it into an answer. So yeah, Parth.
Yeah. So I think so. The audio based feature on these LLMs, whether it's Chat GPT or I think so. There's Mac OS app called Whisper, something like that. So a lot of people are using that not to type into. So all these tools would take input as our audio and convert it into just normal plain text, and whether it would be English or Hindi plus English, English, it would just act as uh, whatever model was being used by Google to understand language. But I think so a lot of regional and local dialects and context-based content would get leverage because of this. So, and these things happen, the content which is not like formatted and reviewed by editors, all of this happens on Reddit and other community platforms like Quora and whatnot. Otherwise, we would not put any content on any website or brand asset where it's not formatted or there's a sentence spelling mistake or something like that. So very natural raw content. So the odds of community platforms getting more leverage through AI is going to be higher. Uh, this is what I think. I think so. We have Udit also with us joining us. Udit, feel free to come up on the stage and would love to.
All right, perfect. Let me uh, get moving and back on the topic in terms of say we still hear the term and as part of your context setting you mentioned human first or people first content is what Google folks are saying. uh, on the other side we have a lot of over engineered over committed content. Are we complicating the entire process or uh, how do you think the entire while we are scaling up is it something which is acceptable from a search engine perspective or and will search engines reward that kind of scaling up or still a slow paced content creation journey is something that would be preferred?
Um, Malhar, if I remember last time also when we had the similar conversation, it's so when we talk about human content, it's not about the right like the person who's writing the content has to be humanly. When we talk about human content, it means the insight which has been added to the content is something which yourself has a personal view to it. So that is more of an approach of a content and not just a human writing a content. So yes, if there is a research driven content, yes, if there is something where you add your own point of view, you add your own context, that is always been acknowledged because that is the need of a customer and consumer plus the AI and algorithm altogether. So for me, when we talk about human content, it means that you adding your own value to the content. It's not just about the language.
Brilliant point, brilliant point. No, definitely. And that is the uniqueness of the content, if we can put it, the human element coming in from a uniqueness and not just a synthesization of content from by the automation tools, right? Hey, Udit, hi. Yeah. Yes, Udit,
Hey
please
Malad,
jump in.
hey Parth, good to see you guys. So I think one of the most important part in today's time, whenever you guys are using any kind of AI content creation, and if you want to add your own human touch, please start doing context engineering. That's not very well known for to a lot of people, but start doing that, right? So for example, I'll give you a very small example. So let's say you want to write a blog post on how to grow your LinkedIn personal account. So let's say there is someone who wants to go there, who is a LinkedIn personal consultant, and if he wants to write about it, right? Now, what you can possibly do over here is use Apify, scrape some of the content creators' data, right? It can be 5, 10, 15 profiles, doesn't matter. Scrape that particular data, you'll get a CSV. Now, if you're, let's say, using ChatGPT, Claude, doesn't matter, whatever platform that you want to use, provide context right? Now, when you write the content using any AI platform, you now have a very unique perspective towards things that no one else will offer. So context is very important. Start using MCPs if you can, right? Also, you can use browser base. They turn any network API, public facing API, into an API, right? So use browser base to build more context. Browser base has got their MCP. So start using that, because if you're not going to build context, you will never have any unique perspective over anything. So that's the most important part in today's time, even if you want to add any personal touch. Or let's say if you can scrape your entire tweet for the last few years, right? Or let's say past few months, now you create a content, you feed that into AI. That's how you do context engineering basically. So start doing context engineering and you will start seeing a very massive difference in the quality of the content. But more importantly, old content is going to die very soon now. So if you don't add freshness to your content every few months, chances of your content being recommended by LLMs is absolutely zero. So gone are those days where you have written a content 5 years ago, 10 years ago, and are still ranking on Google. That's not going to cut out anymore. So every single quarter, you have to review everything of your content. Now here is another very good strategy that I can recommend. If you're using Ahref or SEMrush, see the contents that are not ranking well as of now. Now, whichever is not ranking well or getting cited well, that means there is a lot of context that's pending in that particular piece of content. Now, just rewrite that content. The ones that are already doing well, you don't need to rehash that particular content as of now. So just go back and start reworking on those content, and you will start seeing a very massive difference right away without putting in any more fresh efforts. Just put in some efforts in the existing stuff that you've already done and start adding those freshness. So if you start doing that, your entire like AI SEO game is going to be at another level.
Brilliant, brilliant inputs, definitely. And so, my request to all the participants here, also folks who are on the listening mode, feel free to use the emoticons. There is a heart symbol on your phone. Click on it, you'll see a lot of. It's a way you kind of appreciate the speakers. So, if you like something, do give a thumbs up, etc., so that we know that we are talking in the right direction. All right. Yes, Path. You want to say add something?
No, I think so. I'm good. Thanks, Udit, for sharing the tactics that are working currently.
Okay, perfect. And also, if anyone wants to ask a question, just raise your hand. We will have you on the panel here. You can ask a question, and we'll try our best to answer those questions. All right. Moving to the next one, and this is more about optimizing for LLMs. So while all of us have been talking about all the LLM SEO bits, and they just spoke about the context engineering, etc. As SEO professionals, are we probably going away from some of the basic or the fundamentals which the search engines had propagated over the years, and picking up something new or a new playbook? Or at this point of time you still are following the same playbook and doing little experimentations on that playbook itself and saying, "Hey, this is working now and let me scale that"?
Yep. Yeah, Udit, go ahead.
So here is one strategy that's working absolutely beast right now. Look for some expired domains. Set up a few blogs on it, and then just start writing top 10 of things, right? Start recommending yourself along with known names and some unknown names and competitors. Start writing those kind of contents. PBN is back in the game, which was out of the market a while ago. So PBN is back. It's just that don't link. That's all, right? Wait for the indexation to happen, and once the indexation is done, keep on adding those contents. Now, the beauty about LLMs is that they don't care about links anymore. What they care about is mention, context, and they're smart enough to pick the context, right? So, but start doing expired domains. So you will see a rise in PBNs again, which is already happening in the black hat industry, because AI is at such a nascent stage right now that it is, where SEO was about 10, 15 years ago, right? Where you could just spam links on forums and you would rank, right? Those are some good old days. But now there are some good new days with AI. Leverage it while you can in the next couple of years, because a lot of things will get fixed eventually. But now is a time to kind of like go a little black hat, if you can go ahead and want to rank.
With your statement, people have started rubbing their hands already. All set for it. Yes, Parth, please.
I think so. That made a lot of sense. Like what Udit mentioned, like PBNs without links is so it feels so safer to just hear that. But yeah, the thing that I wanted to add is um, if the SEO teams are kind of chasing for citations instead of like solving the real problems on the content front, I think so. LLM visibility should be an outcome of good SEO, not a separate goal. So that's not going to work in any way. That's my thought.
So, but are we having different playbooks now? So, again, say from Isha or Deepak's perspective, also, do you have a new playbook or it's just an old playbook with some experimentations right now? And assuming that we will scale whatever works.
Malhar, it's still I mean, I would say it's actually the old playbook, but with the new design, with the new jargons which the industry like. But yes, small tweaks are being done, but that is something which we are seeing from past 2 decades now. Every time some changes happen, some modification happen, your playbook changes. So basics uh, are still the same. Like I mean, the example which Udit also said is something which has happened in the basics. Now, of course, the best part for us was that AIs didn't acknowledge mentions. Sorry, algorithms didn't acknowledge mentions. AIs are acknowledging mentions, so at least that part has been taken care of. PRs are being leveraged at this point of time, like anything. So playbook is same. So basics are not changed. It's just that it has been modified based on the requirement and the need of the business.
Fantastic point, and what you mentioned, PR is back. So, uh, are we seeing more efforts going towards brand mentions rather than focusing on the services, etc.? So, to elaborate my point, it is like earlier we used to focus more on thought leadership and say, okay, on this service or this product, I have my thought leadership. I know, I understand this process, I understand this industry much deeper. Now, is it more in terms of having your brand identity along with those product or services so that the and this again there was an earlier mention by Path also the entity relationship, right? So are we looking at building those entity relationship for your uh, brand with respective product or services, and is that effort going so that it is easier to be see when the LLM calls out, it is easier to make that relationship? Yes, Isha.
Yes, it's actually 100% brand plus your service nowadays. So it's like how you want your brand to be perceived in the market, and that's how you are working on. So of course, brand mentions and brand recollects have added, but along with that, additionally, it is also brand along with the service which you want the consumer uh, to have your brand recollected.
Okay, perfect. Yes, Deepak.
Uh, yes, I would like to talk about the topic that you said, brand entity association. So, as Isha said, um, I did some experiment on that. That I used a particular term along with my brand, and uh, in my own blogs, nothing like as publishing somewhere else, in my own blogs. And I noticed that AI overviews started catching that exact term for my brand. So it works, and that's it.
Yeah, fantastic. So this again brings back to one of the points, something that I was pondering over today is, uh, and also if you are subscribed to Economic Times, something came up over the weekend where a lot of brands are focusing on podcasts also, right? So you have your CEOs, CXOs opting for for to come on podcast, etc. Right? So, and that is what I believe is your say brand building exercise, and one of the signal probably that could be leveraged, because once you have your text content, etc., you have audio content also around your brand names, the entire entity a relationship getting built. So uh, are we probably looking at a phase where even as SEO professionals, while we talk about AEO, GEO, etc., we'll also have to look at some of those signals coming in outside of the entire realm of web or LLM kind of SEO also. Are we also going to focus on those aspects where someone is or you want to develop a brand on podcast, PRs, etc.? Is that coming as part of your service offerings as well?
Podcasts or any content hosted on YouTube can be can be easily used by uh, Gemini or any other LLMs for training its data. So I think so. That's always that always helps in influencing for sure. Um, and that's a good overall brand building activity as well. When your senior leadership people go out there and speak, that adds to a lot of credibility to the brand. Um, Overall individual positioning as well as brand positioning as a company. I think so that makes a lot of sense.
Okay, perfect. Let me switch gears now in terms of uh, see what probably are the biggest mistakes we are making right now. Are we trying to optimize too much for AI systems, or are there any mistakes at the basic level? Rather, we are forgetting the basic, just go and focus on AI SEO only. Anyone?
So I think it really depends upon what are you looking for, right? What are your KPIs at the end of the day, Malar? Because if you're just starting a brand new website, I can get mentions and cited on LLMs by tomorrow, right? While when I'm just focusing on SEO side of the things, it could take me several months before my domain even comes out of that Google thing, right? Where they block the newer domains and newer contents and everything for the first 2 3 months before they start pushing up the traffic, right? So it really depends upon your priorities. I think like long term, SEO plus AEO will is going to be a natural fit. But on a very short term basis, if someone wants like an immediate results today, you also need to focus on short term goals, right? Short term results, because you cannot hit your long term results unless and until you achieve some short term success, right? So I think you'll have to combine strategies, tweak your playbooks a bit, where you're focusing on both of them. One very important thing that I have noticed and observed personally, your social media content game has to be top notch today, because most of these platforms are still picking up from searches. And your every single tweet that you do, they get indexed in Google and all the searches. Your Instagram post now gets indexed in Google. So that's like a micro pages that you can build. Your YouTube is already getting indexed, and your LinkedIn posts have started getting indexed. But more importantly, your LinkedIn content where you're creating post, I think what they call it like articles, I think. So LinkedIn articles is very, very important, because they get picked up over the post right now. So start combining all of this. And lastly, what I have also observed the last few months, LLMs are also prioritizing contents on Medium. So just create a Medium account, start generating some good quality contents, and maybe post it few times a week. You'll also get a discovery channel for yourself, because if your contents are very high quality, then the internal network also works. But more importantly, also at the same time, parallelly, your contents will also get picked up by LLMs, because Medium have not blocked some platforms. And lastly, also start using Substack, because Substack has got their contents also rank very good on Google. So you gotta go like a bit of multi-channel in terms of your content distribution, because LLMs will start picking up all of these contents from everywhere. So if your social media game overall is not good, then you're going to have some real challenges in the coming future.
Oh, fantastic, fantastic. No, completely agree, because and what I personally also feel is the old days of doing the basic SEO is back, where you just don't concentrate on one channel, put your efforts in one channel and just do it. Now is again back to the old days where distribution mattered much more, right? And that is where, and the good thing, like you also mentioned, is linking is not necessary. LLMs will find it out. LLMs will define those, will be able to judge those relationships. So but the distribution becomes key. uh, Again, going back to the question was also more in terms of what mistakes are we making. Are we just say ignoring the basics, or are we focusing more on the futuristic side of SEO and just not worrying about doing things right? Parthisha, Deepak.
I think in very short, I would say, Malar, you need to do more now. Keep doing the basics, but you need to start scaling up on the basics. You cannot just not focus on distribution. So if you were creating maybe one article a week, which you used to do like pre AI era, you will now have to do two articles a day, right? That's the kind of scaling you will have to do if you need to start seeing results, because otherwise your competitors are already doing the same.
No, perfect. And that's where I guess AI as part of your operations will also help for you to scale. Parthisha?
For me, I think the people who are still have not started adapting or making the change is the biggest mistake people are doing. They're still thinking that maybe their audience is not present on AI and we should not think about it. That's the biggest mistake, because uh, like you should not wait for the bus to be left and then think, okay, oh, we really missed it. So that's one point. And I think most of the other things Udit has very nicely covered. Uh, in terms of content scalability is something which is now becoming a very integral part of our scope of work also. And brands needs to start understanding that pretty well.
Oh, fantastic. Isha, I just thought about some conversation I was having with someone who has been in the SEO game for a long time, and they are still talking about directory submission. So imagine how dated some of those concepts are. Yeah. All right. But the last question now, and I guess we have 5 minutes, and uh, what I also wanted to pick your brains was on the operation side of the stuff, right? So, and what I mean by that is, are we looking at AI on the operation side more in terms of research or structure or helping you build internal links? Or are we just looking at combining all these things together and helping you scale faster? Anyone? Parth? No, no. So what I was asking this the last question in terms of AI on the operation side, more in terms
Hmm.
of how are you looking at it? Is more in terms of research or structure or helping you develop internal links, or are we looking at combining all this together and helping you scale faster?
I think so. For me personally, I would share it helps me automate a bunch of my research and processes as well, for sure. And when we use it along with a bunch of different MCPs for the tools that we are using, whether it's Ahrefs or any other tool that works for you, I think so. It helps to scale the research part as well as skip a bunch of manual steps. And obviously, so it's all efficiency, scalability, and helps to automate. Like I'll be very honest, like I've seen the other side of people from Western countries doing SEO from the US, the UK, and Australia as well. Like earlier pre-AI era as well, like pre-COVID era, they had fixed defined process to approach their whole SEO execution game. So now because of AI, the Asian companies or specifically the India belt, like I would say, um, we have now got that opportunity to kind of optimize and scale and be more efficient with less human dependency for sure.
Smaller teams, bigger scale. Is that the way forward? All
I
right.
see that as bigger. I see that as bigger margins.
No, definitely yes, definitely. So scale, margin, etc. should do the good part, but uh, thank you so much. I guess we are almost again. Isha, Deepak, if you want to give some parting comments, please.
I would say that it is exactly the time or the era when we were moving from a basic device or phone to a smartphone. It's like now we are moving from search engine to AI and everything. I mean, previously we used to have calculator separate, thing operational things separate, camera separate. Now everything was being taken care of by the smart devices. Same as this era. This is a shift of things which is happening, and everything in future will be driven.
Lovely analogy. Lovely. All right. Thank you so much. So, with that final, we are going to embrace AI SEO, go all in into that, and yeah, be successful on the other side of this, right? So, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for sharing your insights on the first spaces of the year. Look forward to your participation throughout the year. All right, and have a lovely week ahead. We'll see you again next Monday with an amazing guest. Apurva Bose is going to join us, and we'll be sharing the topics, etc. Over the week. So stay tuned.